Hello there, my name is Mark Stevens and I'm the CEO and founder of Smart Recruit Online, so thank you for joining me today. We're going to be talking about recruitment technology and how it fits into the recruitment landscape. Today's conversation is going to discuss a range of different factors which influence which technology we should be selecting and how it works in conjunction with other aspects of the recruitment life cycle. Myself, I've over 20 years in the recruitment industry and the last 7 years developing software. I've got a very deep passion and interest in developing technology that actually works, that is simple, effective, and as we'll demonstrate today, most of my focus is very much around outcomes. What we're looking to try and achieve by using different technology is to improve the results within each of our recruitment campaigns, and measuring those as well, just to see how well we're doing and to make sure that we're continuously improving. So topics today, the screen will change. Here we go, changes twice. We're going to look at various different elements which will influence the way that we recruit and ultimately determine which recruitment technology we should select. The first area to cover is looking at stakeholder and recruiter objectives. There are various people involved in the decision-making process, determining what strategy is deployed by an organisation, and we're going to have a look at how that might influence how we work and the technology that we might choose. We're then going to have a look at the recruitment landscape itself. We're going to specifically look at the advertising networks that are available. Ultimately, we want to try and attract as many of the best candidates we can to our positions, and to do that effectively we need to understand where the most appropriate channels are for posting our jobs. You're going to see this phrase appear more often over time, active networks. You heard it here first. This is the terminology that the recruiters are now starting to adopt to describe an active channel for job advertising, given that we're not just talking about job boards anymore, it's social media and talent pools, talent puddles. Then we're going to move on. We're going to talk about online recruitment tools. I'm going to give you a quick overview of the primary tools in the marketplace, those that are most effective. That there are more, but we're restricted on time today, so we're going to pick about 7 or 8 that we can have a quick look at and see how they work together. Then I want to just quickly go through a few candidate online trends and behaviours with you. We've done a lot of research at Smart Recruit Online. We read a lot of reports. We're gathering a lot of information from credible sources. We're very interested to know how the candidates behave online and understanding how we can adapt our strategies. That's both the process that we deploy and also the technology we use to capture candidates while they are actively looking online for job-related searches. Then we're going to quickly look at what I call the 3 key stages in the recruitment life cycle. We find that a lot of clients that we talk to like us breaking down the recruitment life cycle into 3 key stages. It simplifies it, and then what we're going to do is we're going to look at those 3 key stages in a little bit more detail and go into some of the components which will ultimately determine how successful those stages are as part of the overall process. Then we're going to have a look at technology platform centralization. This is basically looking at how a centralization platform can take advantage of the best of breed tools and services that are out there, making your life easier because you can operate from just one dashboard, but having the flexibility to look at best of breed tools and apply best practice around those to basically give you the best performance and best outcomes on each campaign that you run. Then we're going to talk about human computation very briefly, the importance of the human involvement in any recruitment campaign, despite what technology you use, and then a quick overview of the main components of Smart Recruit Online, and then we'll open it up to Q&A for the people that are listening today. So, stakeholder objectives. Well, we've got on the screen there. So 3 main stakeholders in the recruitment process influencing the strategies that we deploy. I'll break these down as the cold-face user, the human resources, recruitment professionals that are actually working on the campaign, physically working on the campaign. Usually these decisions driven by head of resourcing or HR managers. Then we've got the operational aspects of the business. This is generally procurement and purchasing, who are going to drive the business in a certain direction based on their own objectives, and then obviously the business owner. So what this creates is three main stakeholders, each with a slightly different objective, and we know this to be the case because of all the research that's been done, and I will refer to the largest piece of research ever done by the CIPD back in 2009, and some of the results from that have been rerun several times since, and it does appear that the results still stand fast today. When asked, when over 1,000 British business owners were asked what they believed to be was the single most important factor in effective growth, 99% of those answered that an effective recruitment strategy was central to that, and an effective recruitment strategy was predominantly focused on driving quality outcomes. So what you have at a business level is a group of people whose primary objective is around quality, and they will argue the case that everything that we do within the recruitment space should be around recruiting the very best quality people that we can every time that we have an opportunity to bring somebody new into the business. Finance and procurement will obviously have their own objectives around driving down costs and saving money. They look at departments as a cost centre, and that will have an influence on, obviously, on the third party, which is the people actively doing the recruitment, who will have the pressures from the business for both driving down costs and improving quality. But what's been discovered from extensive research is that the people on the coalface, their priority is to recruit efficiently in the fastest time possible. So three stakeholders, each with a different priority at the top of their agenda. I think that all the stakeholders would agree that all three elements are important, but this can subsequently create a conflict of interest within the business, and something that I call the trilemma. So just to highlight this point, I picked up a couple of pages out of a recent report that was completed by LinkedIn. It was released in June 2015. This is one of the most detailed pieces of research done in the recruitment space, certainly one of the most comprehensive recent pieces of research. I do always take research that's done specifically by a job board or by an entity like LinkedIn with an air of caution, in that a lot of the research that's being done is actually only with their own users, so it does tend to provide some biased results. However, these two particular pages we're going to look at just now, I do believe are quite credible in terms of what they're actually telling us. The key thing that I wanted to bring your attention to over here is the percentage of people who expressed quality of hire as the most rewarding element of running a recruitment campaign, and only 44% of people that were interviewed or filled in this questionnaire indicated that their key satisfaction came from the quality of hire that was recruited, and this is in direct conflict to what 99% of business owners want. Is that they want to drive a culture where the people doing the recruiting are satisfied most by the quality issue, by the outcomes of recruiting the very best quality person they could. And we can see here that 25% even indicated for this survey that time to fill the vacancy was the most important issue in terms of giving them satisfaction from a recruitment campaign. And I found another page on the same survey where we can see here that specifically the organisational priorities of organisations, and the blue bar here represents small organisations, whereas 43 represents larger organisations. So I'm guessing this is SME. 49% of small businesses said that when these people that are interviewed said that their priority was to recruit highly skilled talent over and above other options that were provided. And I find this quite disturbing, I've got to say, that less than half of the people that are recruiting are actually driven by recruiting the most highly skilled people that they possibly can. Now, when we looked into this research, it was clear that a high priority of the people that were answering these survey questions were actually the people that were doing the recruitment themselves. And this may back up the point that we previously made with regards to this conflict of interest, because businesses really need to understand that if they want to execute effective recruitment processes, and if they're going to choose the right technology, it always has to be driven with quality as the primary outcome. So let's talk about the different channels that we have available to us. A poorly selected image here, which is supposed to represent agency recruiters. They do play an important role in the whole recruitment process, and play a major role in the recruitment landscape. I understand from a very recent survey that nearly 25% of all jobs filled were through a third party. So still playing a very important role. Indeed here represents the aggregation services that are out there. So Indeed, Trovit, Job Rapido. These are the guys that are effectively morphing into job boards, but have accelerated their position within the marketplace by aggregating everybody else's jobs. These aggregators are useful. They are playing a major role. They're heavily dominant in search results, and certainly are playing one of the most important factors in advertising selection today. However, I will say that with sites like Indeed, that certainly from the surveys and the communication with candidates that we've been doing, that there is almost a backlash that's starting to occur, in that candidates are becoming habitual searching for jobs, running regular monthly, weekly searches to see what jobs are out there. And a lot of the candidates that we're talking to are saying now that they're bypassing Indeed just because there is just so many jobs on there. And this falls in line with some of the habits that we're going to discuss a bit later on in this presentation. The time frames that people are prepared to dedicate to running a search. If they're presented with 2,000 or 3,000 results, there's just no chance of them getting past the first, 20, 30, 40 results in the limited time frames that people are willing to spend searching for jobs. Search engines obviously play a vital role, just because of the fact that most candidates start their search in Google. So whatever results Google provides is going to determine where candidates are going to go to search. You can actually advertise jobs on Google as well, as a part of a pay-per-click strategy, and you can run pay-per-click strategies in Indeed and various other locations as well. There's even aggregation services. There's even recruitment services now who are aggregating all the pay-per-click channels, and will manage that for you. We've got all the social media channels. But one word of warning with regards to job advertising on social media: it is relatively ineffective. Most important stat that I heard not too long ago, that there are something like 10 times more jobs posted on Twitter than there are on the leading job board in the UK. However, the same leading job board fills 10 times more jobs than is filled by Twitter, subsequently making the leading job board 100 times more effective than advertising a job on Twitter. We post jobs right across all the social media networks. We support that with content marketing as well, and I can assure people that job advertising on social media on its own is relatively ineffective. Something that you can do if you can automate it, but unless you're going to complement your efforts on social media with some serious content marketing, the results are going to be relatively ineffective. Reward schemes, it's a bit old-fashioned, but with technology, there's some great ways in which you can actually sort of push your jobs out to existing employees, get them to share those jobs on social media, and subsequently, take advantage of those networks of contacts that your employees have got. It's far more easier now for an employee to share a job across all their personal networks. Data mining, well, there's lots of repositories out there. The job boards obviously have databases. Many of us have access to those databases. SmartRecruit, we have access to umpteen databases with a total of over 15 million unique candidates. Some of the most interesting databases that we can get access to, certainly in the IT space, places like GitHub and Stack Overflow, which were not intended to be recruitment repositories, but are subsequently turned into them. And there are really cool and intelligent ways in which you can interrogate those databases and pull out candidates' details that could be relevant to your job, and that includes contact details for those candidates as well, so you can drop them into your jobs by email campaigns. And then, of course, the job board network. Nearly 5,000 established advertising job board channels in the UK today. These include around about 50 national generic boards, some big boards that you will all know the names of and be familiar with, like JobSite, Monster, Total, Reed, CV Library. But there are around about 3,500 niche and industry-specific boards out there as well. And these can be very useful for those hard-to-fill positions. And then on top of that, we've got a local network of job boards, major network channels through Daily Mail Group, Johnson Press, and Trinity Mirror Group. And then finally, on top of that, you've got the publications that are out there as well, which had their job advertising sections in their magazines and have now turned into full-blown job boards. So there is a vast array of channels to select from, and the dilemma for most individuals is, choosing which of these channels to spend your advertising budget on. And what we're going to show you today, later on in this, is how you can perhaps take advantage of all of these for very low cost and maximise the exposure of your job adverts. So, moving on now to the technology landscape itself. At the centre of any good recruitment process is going to be some sort of management system to manage all your recruitment activity. The most familiar, most established in this space are the applicant tracking systems, but the more modern recruitment platforms, very different from an applicant tracking system, cloud-based, pay-as-you-go, give you all the benefits of an applicant tracking system right up to the onboarding process, but can be far more efficient than an applicant tracking system in that they are actually designed specifically for recruitment activity, as opposed to an HR system that tracks candidates through a process. So some of the tools that you might come across out there that you could integrate with your chosen platform. Social profiling. There's a couple of companies out there now that provide you with the ability to be able to search in individuals' social media networks and pull information through and actually create a profile on those individuals based upon, what it is that they're looking at and sharing across their social profiles. I'm not entirely convinced that this has an intrinsic value just yet. It's interesting. Certainly, I think it's important when you're recruiting people into customer-facing roles of responsibility, is to, you've got the ability to be able to go in and check out what they're doing on social media. So we should do that. I know there are some privacy issues, and some people don't feel there is it's ethically right. But certainly for myself, I would be more than happy to go and have a look at somebody's social media profile, certainly on Facebook, and just get an idea of what their interests are. Next, we've got all the multi-posting, automated multi-posting sites, Logic, Melon, Idiboo, JobMate, and the largest of all, Broadbean. Broadbean is by far the largest operator in this space, dominating the market with over 80% of the marketplace. By far the most efficient, in my opinion. It's the service that we have selected. Highly reliable, massive team of people over there, can get your job out to pretty much everybody in the marketplace. Analytics tools. Well, there's an argument that if you don't know how well you're doing, how do you know where you can improve? There's so many analytics tools out there now. Most of the applicant tracking systems will have some sort of reporting feature on there so that you can measure how effective your campaigns are, the sources of applicants, where they're coming through from, how many of those applicants are going through to being shortlisted or to interview. And this is going to give you some statistics around, how well those channels are performing, how well you perform. You should be measuring your times to offer. I know a lot of stats out there around time to hire, but I'm not a believer that measuring time to hire is an accurate way of assessing how well you're doing, given that one candidate might be available immediately and another one may be on a 3-month notice period. But if you measure the time from the start of launching your campaign through to the date that you actually make the verbal offer, I think that will give you a pretty good indication of how well you're doing. And under 21 days certainly should be what people are aiming for from start to finish. Background checking. Well, it amazes me how many companies we talk to that make offers and recruit people without doing any background checks. There's plenty of tools out there, Safe Screening and Experian, just to name a couple. These guys have got a large portfolio, a suite of screening products, everything from just checking somebody's qualifications, checking their ID, or security clearance type sort of assessment checks. If they're working in public sector or with children, for example, but just basic background checks. Is this person's qualifications correct? Getting references from previous employees, and there's a number of tools out there, automated tools, that will allow you to do this very, very quickly and efficiently without really distracting you from your day-to-day work. Career pages and portals. I needed to include this in there because the more that we talk to clients, the more that this topic is coming up. There just seems to be a real buzz at the moment around having a good career page on your website, improving the quality of that career page, and it's all around strengthening the corporate brand. It's all about catching candidates that are coming to you through social media, through content marketing efforts. And we're doing quite a lot of work now with clients ourselves to help them improve the way that they structure these career pages. The one thing I will say about career pages is that they're a great additional source for candidates that have come to your website, but I certainly wouldn't be recommending that you direct applicant traffic from a job board to either an applicant tracking system or to a career page, unless you're happy to lose about 80 to 90% of those candidates. Parsing. Many of you won't have heard of parsing before. The leading product in the marketplace is Burning Glass. There are 2 or 3 products which have established themselves in this space, and then there's a whole range of inferior products that are out there. We selected Burning Glass after extensive research, just purely for its levels of accuracy. But Burning Glass and parsing technology is doing 2 key things. It's catching data, it's identifying what it is, and it's populating it into the correct fields inside your database. This means that candidate CVs can be received and automatically parsed into your dashboard. That means you're not going to lose applicants in the process, because you can run a system so that your adverts on the job boards, are apply by CV. So the candidate hits the apply button, CV comes straight into that dashboard, and then the parsing technology, if it's working effectively, will break down that CV and populate all the correct fields. That makes it very, very efficient for you to be able to search and find information at a later date. But for me, the most important aspect of the parsing, and this is where Burning Glass differentiates itself from anything else out there in the marketplace, is that it can assess 2 documents against each other. So it can take a digital footprint of your job advert and then measure that against a digital footprint of the CV that's been received. It uses basically keywords, and it's certainly Burning Glass, and this is where Burning Glass is quite unique, is that it will look at various different ways of measuring those keywords. First of all, it'll take the basic keywords themselves, cross-reference them with dictionaries and thesaurus to look for synonyms, words that mean the same thing. and apply a score to that. It'll then look at Boolean, so it's looking at combinations of words, and then finally it'll look at semantics, so the combinations of individual words in any order within a sentence. And semantics is playing such an important role now in most artificial intelligence and algorithms that are being written. Burning Glass is extremely accurate, in placing the candidates into order of suitability into your dashboard. It's a massive time saver, and if you do run a very comprehensive, very effective recruitment campaign, you can, certainly for sort of mainstream type positions, receive a hell of a lot of applications. We're seeing regularly clients receiving between 100 and 1,000 applications for their jobs through SmartRecruit Online, and without Burning Glass, that would become a real logistical headache to sift through those. So something definitely to look out for if you're choosing some technology. If it's got a parsing technology in there, look out for Burning Glass. It's a great piece of kit. Behavioural assessments. So we're all familiar with psychometric profiling. For me, behavioural profiling is a much more accurate way to assess somebody's behavioural and cultural alignment to your organisation. The basic difference here is that psychometric profiling is getting a candidate to answer a load of questions around their preferences, and then measure that against a big bank of data in order to determine what type of characteristics this person is likely to display and the preferences they're likely to have. Whereas with behavioural profiling, you're actually creating a benchmark yourself. So you answer the questions yourself to create the benchmark, and of course you can then adapt that, because you can create a benchmark either against the company culture, or you could get a group of people from a team and say, let's answer these questions together, so that you get the team as the benchmark. Or you may have a team of people where it's the manager that you've got to hire for. You may have somebody who's extremely talented, but yet at the same time difficult to find people that they can work with that person, and so you may actually sort of benchmark that person and then recruit around them. So then the candidates can be invited to complete the questionnaire, and what the behavioural assessment will do is will identify any areas of conflict between the benchmark that you created and the options that the candidate selected. And this is going to be great fodder for your interviews. If you do decide to move forward with a candidate and interview them, then it's going to really identify where those potential areas are where you could have problems in the future. Okay, last but not least, video profiling. Not for every single job, I understand that, but this is the fastest growing area of technology and recruitment right now, so we couldn't leave it out. Everybody's experienced, anybody that's interviewed and recruited people previously will have experienced that sinking feeling of sitting in an interview and wasting an hour or more of your life talking to somebody that was never going to move forward for an offer for that job. And the great thing about video profiling is it's going to give you that 2-3 minute snapshot of that candidate. It's not a replacement for any part of the interview. It just gives you that insight into the candidate's personality. It'll tell you, can they communicate, can they think on their feet, can they answer a few questions, but most importantly, get a feel for their personality. And I feel very strongly that if people are going to screen candidates before going to offer, yes, we do put them through all the technical tests and assess for skills and experience, but running a behavioural profile and a video profile together, certainly for customer facing roles, is going to help you make far better hiring decisions. Okay, so we're now going to move on to the candidates, because how do we know what technology to choose? How do we know what channels to choose? How do we know what processes to deploy if we don't really understand how the candidates themselves behave online? So this is a really key and important factor, and what we're going to do just now is have a look at some statistics from not only our research, from various other bodies that have done research into this as well, and try and determine what they mean to us while we're recruiting. So the leading statistic on this page is that Google says that there are between 9 and 11 million unique job-related searches taking place every month through Google. First of all, what does that mean to us, the recruiter? Well, the good news is it means that nearly a third of the working population are actually looking at job opportunities on a regular basis. And what we believe from our research is that for many people, looking at what jobs are out there has become ritualistic and habitual, prompted by various different things. people going and searching for the first time, quite often prompted because of an emotional situation which may have occurred in the workplace, something that's potentially unsettled a candidate. And if somebody feels unsettled or uncomfortable in their job, the only thing that they can really do is to say, well, what else would be out there if I was to leave this job today? And the first place they're going to go is they're going to run a search on Google, and they're going to see what Google results provide to them. So through an extensive piece of research that we did with a major insurance company, we spoke to nearly 1,000 candidates who'd applied for some jobs through SmartRecruiter Online. And this was basically the breakdown of those candidates in terms of demographics. We extracted a whole range of different interesting things, but only 9% of the people that had applied for these jobs were actually unemployed, meaning that obviously 91% of the people that are out there looking for jobs are actively in employment right now. Now, for me, that is a wake-up call. It's a wake-up call for anybody that's advertising online and still thinks that you can get away with writing a bland, boring job advert, which is literally just a list of the qualifying criteria that somebody's going to have to comply to in order to satisfy your job. If people are in employment right now working for your competitor, you've got to write advertising copy. You've got to write something that's compelling, that makes those people believe that there's an opportunity that's better than what they currently have. 13% of those people surveyed were semi-active. What we mean by that is that they indicated that they were willing to make a move for another job if the right opportunity came along, and regularly actively went out looking for it. Semi-passive audience generally tended to have been stimulated by something to go and have a look at an opportunity. They are not regular searchers. They're not actively looking all the time for a new position. Generally speaking, they would fall into a category of, well, if you put the right job in front of me, paying the right money in the right location, of course I'm interested to have a look. And 23% said quite outrightly that they were no longer looking, and that was within 2 weeks of applying for a position. They changed their mind. And these people specifically fell into that category of probably searching for the first time, responding to an emotional situation. That emotional situation had now recovered, and the status quo had been returned to their working environment, and they were no longer actively looking. But then we look at the amount of time that these people spend and how and when they're actually looking for jobs. What we discovered was that the most common time that people were looking, and certainly when we were looking at the semi-passive and no longer looking group of people and asked them what times of day they were searching for jobs, very clear hot spots for us around lunchtime and around the early evening, either just before or just after their evening meal. And this would indicate that these people are less willing to take up their work time to go and look for jobs. In fact, of the 78% semi-passive and no longer looking, these people, very much dominant statistic that came out of this, probably over 90% of the people we spoke to said they spent less than 20 minutes in a single search session. So, for me, the standout points from this are, if people are only looking, for less than 20 minutes at a time, the vast majority of people that are searching, we've got a very small window of opportunity to make sure that they find our jobs online, and to make sure that we convert them. We make sure we structure everything correctly so that we capture them as an important part of the overall recruitment process. So as we said, over 70% of people looking for jobs will start searching Google. Here we've got a few stats. At the top here we've got the premium sponsored adverts. Average cost for a lot of these adverts we think is anything between £2 to £3 right up to £15-20 per click. It's expensive advertising. It doesn't guarantee an application. All it is a click through to your job advert. Generally speaking, these adverts here are dominated by the job boards themselves, and tend to be driving candidates into the board so that there'll be multiple jobs there for them to find. so they can maximise on the results from that. Down the right hand side here, sponsored advertising, and the volume of clicks that these get is fairly limited. It's pretty much in single figures right from the top downwards, but these ones down here at the bottom getting virtually, no clicks at all. And as we can see, the vast majority of applicant traffic that's going to be clicking on anything is going to be clicking in these three results here. So the top of the natural search results, these first three results is where we as advertisers must aim to get our job advertisements on. In fact, if you want a single tip here on which job boards to select over and above anything else, take your job title, take the location of that job, run a search in Google, and see what comes out at the top of the results. You may or may not choose to use Indeed, but certainly the leading job board would be my first choice if I was only going to advertise on one platform. However, most of these boards, for a single advertising campaign, they are going to charge you anything from £100 to £400 for a single post, and what we're going to show you later on is how you can get on all of these boards, literally all of these results, for a single price, for as little as under £250, which is going to give you a far better chance of catching that applicant traffic. Okay, I did mention earlier the risk of using application pages, application forms as part of your recruitment process. For me, there's nothing wrong with using an application form, but don't make the candidate duplicate any effort in making their application. You're only going to lose candidates in the process. But if you stick an application form at the start of the process, where for argument's sake, the candidate's in a job board, let's say JobSite or Reader Monster, they see your advert, they click on that link, and they're redirected to this page. I can guarantee you now, for extensive research, that you're going to lose anything up to 90% of your candidates. We ran some detailed research with a leading insurance company, and discovered that they were losing nearly 90% of all their applicants who just weren't interested in filling out these forms. Interestingly, during the course of this campaign that we ran for this company, we set it up so that the applicants were caught by our parsing technology and filtered into our dashboard. So we caught every single applicant, and the client indicated to us the number of people that had completed the form, and for each of the 5 jobs that we trialled this against, they'd attracted, I think, between 5 and 15 applicants for each job, and they were reasonably pleased with that, given that was a better set of results than from the previous campaigns they'd run for the same jobs in the same location, until they heard that we'd attracted between 150 and 250 applicants for the same jobs. And then subsequently we got the clients to identify the best 50 candidates that we'd received, and then measured those against the candidates that had filled out the application form. And 2 of the 5 jobs didn't have a single candidate from the top 50 applicants fill out the application form. And the other 3, in single figures, less than 5 of the applicants had come through from the top 50, which indicated clearly to us that the best candidates are the most passive candidates, are the ones that will most likely drop out of the process. So putting an application form in at the front of your application process is highly counterproductive to generating more high-quality direct applications into your jobs. Okay, 3 stages in the recruitment process. Stage 1, talent attraction. Stage 2, campaign management. Stage 3, candidate screening. I mentioned this earlier. Nicely, companies find it comforting when they can see that the process has been broken down. It's easy to understand it. It's easier to understand how they can make the right decisions to package this all up again, back together into one seamless process that can give them the right set of results. And we're going to actually go into a second and have a look at each of these different stages in the process. But before I do that, this is my opportunity to bring in to the conversation the topic of human computation, because having been in this technology space for nearly 7 years now, but being a user of technology for a lot longer than that, being extremely passionate about finding ways to automate mechanical processes, I can absolutely assure you now there is not a recruitment technology process out there that does not require human intervention to get the best results out of it. What the technology should be doing is making you more efficient, removing administration, removing duplication, and removing as much of the mechanical aspects as you can. But when it comes to engaging with the candidates you're most interested in, it is going to take an individual to pick up the phone and apply influence. Most of us have heard the phrase, it's been used quite a lot, the war for talent, and an interesting conversation that we had on one of our hangouts recently. One of our guests highlighted to us that the terminology was wrong. It's not a war for talent. It's about romancing candidates. If we apply a very intelligent talent attraction strategy and we get good candidates into our pipeline and we can identify those best candidates quickly, we need to apply a process of nurturing and of romancing them to influence them to believe that the opportunity that we've got is better than the one they currently have. Otherwise, they're not going to hit that apply button. Okay, so we're going to Smart, and then through Smart, we're going to go through those 3 stages in the recruitment process. Just a couple of things to point out for you about Smart Recruit Online. Over the last 6 months, we've maintained a 76% fulfillment rate from direct applications and job fulfillment. So what's interesting, talking to a lot of recruitment agencies that are out there, who use recruitment advertising, use job board advertising to attract candidates, I hear it time and time again that recruitment agencies are not fulfilling more than 10 to 15% of their jobs from direct applicant traffic, from job advert responses. But what we're proving is that with the right tactics, for a more comprehensive approach, a more intelligent approach to using online strategies and technology, you can dramatically increase the amount of campaigns and jobs that you can fill from direct applicants. And by improving the technology that you're using, you can dramatically reduce the amount of time that you spend on each campaign, and subsequently reduce your cost per hire as well. So that's from over, I think the last 500 jobs that were filled, the average cost per hire, just £239. So we coming back to the imagery that we've already shown you, Smart Recruit is utilising all of these channels, multi-distribution, taking advantage of all the advertising networks that are out there. Why pick one when you can have them all, at a very low cost? And then deploying all this technology in one platform, so that you get the best of breed of everything that you're doing to improve your outcomes. Okay, bit of repetition here. What do we do with Smart Recruit Online? We've got 3 stages of the recruitment life cycle, but it's also about how we apply ourselves to this, to the process, to support the technology. And the 3 stages: find and attract, capture and nurture, screen and influence. So the first stage, talent attraction. I mean, there are many people that would argue that if this stage doesn't work, then the rest of it's just a complete waste of time, and I have to agree with them. If you don't have the quality of people in your shortlist, in your pipeline, then it doesn't really matter what process or technology you use beyond that point. So getting this bit right is absolutely critical. There are 3 key components to getting your advertising strategy, your talent attraction strategy right. The first is reach. It stands to reason that the more places that you post your advert, the more people are likely to see it. The second thing is, I'm actually going to go to the topic, keyword optimization. These images are actually in the wrong order, but the reason why I'm going to put keyword optimization next is, your job advert's got to get found. Okay, so we can distribute the job to all the channels that are out there, but if you're on page 10 of the results, you're not going to get found. So keyword optimization is critical, especially with these bigger boards, the big national boards. You've got to understand how to get your job appearing higher up the list. You know, if 90% of the, sorry, 70-odd% of the people out there searching for jobs are only spending 20 minutes searching, they're not going to get past the first 2 or 3 pages of results. So, you know, we think this is massively important. Choosing the right keywords that the candidates are searching for, making them appear the right number of times in the right places in your job advert is critical. And then the final thing, we've now distributed the job to the widest number of advertising channels we can. We've got the advert found. It's sitting, staring right in the eyeballs of the candidate. It's all about copy, you know, because if you don't write good advertising copy, if it doesn't influence, if it doesn't persuade the reader that this is a better opportunity than the one they've currently got, they're just not going to hit the apply button. In fact, it's even more important than that. You know, you have to consider how the candidates are searching. They're skimming through the jobs. You know, looking at those summaries in the results, you know, so you've got a paragraph to try and sort of, you know, win them over to, you know, get those people thinking about, you know, wanting to find out more about that opportunity, opening up the full job, and then using that opportunity to completely sell them on the fact that this is going to provide them with a better opportunity than the one they've currently got. So they hit the apply button. Okay, so we've done all that bit well. We've got loads of candidates into our dashboard. The next challenge is going to be managing it. So the campaign management phase is critical. This is where all the time's taken up. You know, HR people, recruiters, you'll know how long it takes. I mean, I used to work on the basis that I'd give myself about half a day admin time working on any campaigns when I was an agency recruiter. You know, I'd fill all my prospect list up with candidates, and I'd just trawling through CVs and picking up the phone and talking to people and qualifying people. You know, minimum half a day. You know, and then that doesn't even take into consideration all the time that you spend with those candidates you're going to put forward. You know, helping them to highlight their relevant skills, and you know, putting together cover sheets, and then if they're successful, you know, helping them through the interview process as well, and dealing with all the feedback and everything else. So you're probably talking, you know, a good day to 2 days in a lot of cases in terms of admin time. So this is where the technology can come in, because the parsing technology can place the candidates into order of suitability for you. It can drive you straight to the best candidates, so that you're only spending your time with those people that are potentially suitable, that have got the right skills and experience. And because it's driven us quickly to those best candidates, we can then spend more time with them, and it means we can increase the pool of candidates that we're willing to consider at this selection phase. So traditionally, and I'm sure most of you resonate with this, you've had a load of applications come in, you'll pick out the best 3 or 4 and you'll invite them in for a face-to-face interview. So you're basing your interview decisions just on skills and experience, but you know, we're going to show you in the next phase is how you can open up that range of people, and you know, by having an efficient administration process at this particular stage that avoids duplication of effort, that drives you to the best candidates, is going to give you the time and the incentives to be able to spend more time making better selection decisions and performing some screening. So the screening phase, the third phase in the process. We've now got our shortlist, and traditionally it might have been 3 or 4 people we'd invited face-to-face. What I've been doing through Smart is I've been drawing up shortlists of between 10 and 20 people. And why? Because I can. Because I'm attracting more good quality people into my talent pool, into my prospect list. Subsequently, it becomes more difficult to sort of decide who the best people are. So with a wider range of people to consider, and I can deploy using video profiling, behavioural profiling, a second range of qualification that gives me a more holistic view of those individuals. Now, on top of that, I would probably ask all the candidates to complete a competency-based set of questions for me. So I'm going to pick the 4 key competencies that I want to measure against and give each candidate the opportunity to highlight for me where their relevant skills and experiences are in relation to that. That's just going to help me to filter out a few more of those shortlisted people. It's going to give me an opportunity to see you know, how these people can communicate back to me this information, how well they've understood what the opportunity is. But then, you know, video profiling for customer-facing roles, definitely, you know, it costs less than £10 for every video profile completed. And what I'm going to get is I'm going to get insight into these people. I'm going to see how they communicate, how they look, and get an idea about their personality. And that in combination with the behavioural profiling, which is going to tell me how well aligned they are to our own culture here, I can make better decisions. It may well be that number 1 on the shortlist, based on skills and experience, suddenly becomes number 4 on the shortlist, and I've got a different 3 characters that I'm now looking to pull forward. And if you do this, and if you do all this screening properly, it will massively reduce the risk of making the wrong hires. You know, we know this statistic. We've heard it again and again. Over 80% of people that leave a job in the first year leave for behavioural reasons, not because they couldn't do the job. And you know, there is no excuses when the technology's out here. You can do it at the click of a button, and you know, and make better decisions. One final point on this before I move on. Although it's at the click of a button, I certainly wouldn't be sending out a video profile request and a behavioural profile request to a candidate without picking the phone up first. This is an important time in the process when you absolutely must start to build rapport with it and build a relationship with these individuals. It's an opportunity for you're only going to be calling up the ones that you're interested in. You know, you saved yourself your time of having to sift through all those rubbish candidates that were unsuitable. So put the time back into these candidates. Pick up the phone, introduce yourself, and tell these guys that you've been impressed with their application, that you like the look of, you know, their CV, you're interested to find out more about them, and explain to them that, you know, we've got a fairly stringent process we're going to go through, and that, you know, that you're going to, you know, and ask them if they've ever come across video profiling, behaviour profiling before, and are they okay to do it, and offer them assurances that, you know, it's quite straightforward. Because the bottom line is, we want them to complete this, because if they don't complete these tasks, then we can't use them to help us to make better decisions. And if that is an important part of the process, to get these tasks completed so that we can make these better decisions, then so be it. You know, pick up the phone. At the end of the day, one of these people, we're going to be making an offer to them ideally, and you know, what we don't want to be doing is having them decline at offer stage. It's extremely frustrating. We don't have to go back to the start of the process again. So good practice, best practice, you know, talk to the candidate definitely before issuing any screening to them. Okay, so just a couple of last slides now. I'm just going to quickly show you some pictures. It's just this bottom section here. When you log into SmartRecruit, you can see how easy it is. It lists the jobs that you've got being advertised or that you've had advertised. To go into a job, you literally just click on the link. There's a small, short summary here of the number of applications received. Applications still awaiting feedback. Because you can close the job down halfway through the campaign, because all the campaigns run for 28 days, you can set the system so that it can send an automatic email out to anybody that applies after the date that you've closed it down, but you'll still receive those applications. So this is why on some of these jobs you've still got candidates here that are waiting to be viewed. And we can perform some actions from this phase and this screen as well, although what we would properly do is actually sort of click on a job and go into that job. So I'm going to imagine that we've clicked on that. I'm actually going to go into the campaign area. So we're going to in the campaign area. There's a few things that we can do in there. We can view stats of the campaign. We can edit the advert, preview the advert. We can create a duplicate of the advert if we ran a really good campaign 2 months ago and got lots of good applicants and we don't want the whole administrative task of rewriting everything. We can just do that. If we're using video assessments, we can edit them here. And if we want to set up automatic emails to go out to candidates, we can do that from here as well. So the 2 times we might want to do that, we might set them up at the start so that every candidate that applies receives a thank you email from us, thanking them for taking the time to apply for the job, thanking them for considering us, telling them what the process is going to be. Perhaps on that email you want to attach a copy of your brochure, a link to your corporate video. All this is good stuff. You know, you've already differentiated yourself from the vast majority of people advertising, because you've gone back, you've gone to the candidate, you've acknowledged receipt of the application, and you know, you've shown them some courtesy, you've outlined what the process is likely to be. Immediately you're going to minimise dropout from the process. So we've got 5 key actions that we can perform. Decline the candidate, shortlist the candidate, request for interview, contact a candidate. Obviously we can contact them for a number of different means. It might be to send them a test, it might be get them to fill out a competency-based questionnaire, it could be to ask for additional information, or we can screen the candidates. All the screening tools are in there. It works quite simply. You would literally click on the candidate or candidates. You can do multiple actions through the system. These candidates will then turn green, and then you left click on here, drag and drop onto the boxes, and the action will be performed. Alternatively, you could just select from the drop down once you've highlighted the candidates and choose the action that you want to perform. This feature here just allows us to provide some customization to clients who want to perform other tasks. So, for example, if you wanted to integrate our recruiting platform with your ATS system. We can integrate that through an API, and then you could select the candidates you want to move across into your applicant tracking system, select it from the drop down. It will probably say move to API, hit go, and all that data is going to be pulled across. Very, very easy to use. We have very little feedback which would suggest that people find any difficulty in using it, so very high adoption rates. A lot of positive feedback coming from companies that have previously used complex ATS systems like Taleo, Lumes. There's just so many features and functions all mixed up in the site, who say this is just a pleasure to work with. Okay, and at the end of the campaign we can see that this candidate's now been offered, and we've got an audit trail. All the actions that we performed during the course of the campaign have been recorded. We can see here all the email communications, the interview notes, the video profile, the behavioural assessment, the background check, and the competency-based interview questions all here. To view any of those, we can see they've all been completed. The green tick, the box, this interview box has gone from grey to blue. The brain icon has gone from grey to blue, etc., etc. We know that these have all been completed. We can now click into this candidate's details, and inside this candidate's details we can go and view all these things all in their dashboard. Nice and easy, everything centralised, and a full audit trail. If this candidate doesn't work out and leaves, and there's any repercussions, you can show by going back to this that you did all the due diligence that you could have done to minimise the chance of making that bad hire. Okay, some great tools in here. The social recruiting tool that allows you to push all your jobs out to social media, to your groups on social media, to your own social media pages. Behind our platform is a world-class customer support team. These are all ex-recruiters. These are people who are passionate about recruitment. It's like having a group of people working for you on an ad hoc basis. So while you're using the platform, you can pick up the phone, talk to them about any of the features that we've got on the site. If the system, if your campaign's struggling, we'll already be monitoring it for you. We'll be engaging with you. We'll be coming up with ideas and different ways in which you can use this platform to fill the job before you go to a third party and pay an expensive agency fee. We're not discounting agencies. We think they play an important role in the whole process, but you know what we are promising is that we're going to give you the very best chance possible of filling your job at the lowest possible cost. Okay, yeah, so just a couple of samples for you. This is the video profile, so candidates complete the video profile. If we go into the candidate area, we can just hit play, and the behavioural profile report, you know, we can skim through that and have a look at all the different sort of reviews against the different elements of the benchmark to identify where those potential areas of conflict are. We can customise the pages for you. This particular client wanted the pages to be customised in their corporate colours. So the advantage of this, and if you're a big organisation, when other users log into the site, they can feel that this is an extension of your website. It feels like the company's investing in them to provide them with a recruitment platform that's going to make their life easier. This is actually quite simple and straightforward. We can perform this customization for you in less than 30 minutes. You can even customize your advertising pages. Very, very important. You know, the statistics that I've been told, the major job boards require between 20 and 25 views of an advert for every one person that hits the apply button. This page on SmartRecruiter, if we can drive traffic to this page, you know, through our jobs by email campaigns, through your social recruiting, through your referral schemes, we're converting 1 in 4, 1 in 5 from this page. You know, a well-written piece of copy in conjunction with all your corporate information, a good, powerful recruitment, a good, powerful video that really sells you as a great place to come and work will massively increase the number of people that hit that apply button. And you can customize all this, put in all your own videos, website links, social links, etc. in less than 10 minutes on the site. So what we've done today, this wasn't a demonstration of SmartRecruiter Online. We were talking about technology. We were talking about how technology can be utilised. We gave you some examples of how SmartRecruit's, you know, utilising all this technology and integrating it into a single platform. If what you've seen today, if you like what you've seen today, and if you'd like to find out more specifically about how SmartRecruiter Online can save you money, drive down costs, and improve the quality of applications that you get through to your jobs, we'd love to give you a demonstration. Demonstrations are personalised, they're customised to you, to your requirements. We'll spend 5-10 minutes at the start understanding what technology you're using, what systems you're using, what processes you're following. We'll want to understand where your bottlenecks are, where your pains are, what are your objectives, and then we'll tailor that presentation to show you how SmartRecruit can help you to meet those. Presentation takes less than 30 minutes, but you will probably have some questions at the end. Specifically, if you feel like most companies do, that have our demonstration, that it can actually genuinely meet many of your objectives. So yeah, telephone numbers on there. Give the guys a call. Ask for somebody in the customer support team. No hard sales from our organisation, and it's free to use the platform. First 6 months, completely free of charge, risk-free. That's how confident we are in our platform that it can deliver results. But even if you don't want to use SmartRecruiters, hopefully you've picked up some useful tips. Hopefully there's some good takeaways there for you, and giving you some ideas about how you can adapt your recruitment process to get better results from them. Okay, I'm Mark Stevens, and thank you for your time today.